4, 3, 2,
Max.
1.
Ko ngā pito kōrero o te wā, tonight on Metro News.
Lines are lengthening at Christchurch food banks.
We visit a group of women doing their bit for babies.
And our very own judo couple take to the mat ahead of the Commonwealth Games. Talofa lava o te tahi.
Welcome to Metro News, a program brought to you by the students of the New Zealand Broadcasting School. As living expenses rise across the country, more people are fighting to stay afloat. Kairos Food and Rescue is one of many organisations helping and says demand for basic grocery items is growing. Luca Foreman is covering the story and joins us now. Luca.
The Consumer Price Index, which measures the cost of household goods, shows that prices have risen up to 7% since this time last year. The COVID pandemic and Ukraine situation have been described as a perfect storm for inflation. And all this means that more people need assistance to get by. So food banks and free stores are more important than ever. The increased cost of everyday goods has meant low-income families are feeling the pinch.
We're seeing over 100 people most nights, which is up on numbers we normally see. It's just, I think the cost of living, dare I say it, is having a massive impact.
The aim of the rescue is to put excess food from supermarkets and cafes into the hands of those who need it. They also want to foster a relationship with their community.
So we talk about the food as a tool to reach people. We're talking about giving them a hand up rather than a hand out.
One example is David, who was set up with a haircut and a shave.
People look at me as a person who's actually worth talking to.
For others, the food means they can afford to spend more on their children.
One lady we asked a while ago, why do you come? And she said for her, the difference is coming is her kids get to be able to do school trips, presents, Christmas, birthdays, that sort of thing, and that's a massive impact for her.
A new laundry van service has just opened up here too. They'll clean and dry your clothes, and you can clean yourself up in the shower.
You don't have to do a lot to help people. You know, a load of washing, a shower can really go a long way.
Over at the City Mission, they're also experiencing more demand.
Against April last year, we've got an increase of 73%, and if you kind of average it out, it's about a 60 to 65% increase across the board.
The coming cold weather may also make the problem worse.
Winter's always tougher because of power. Power is our major contributor to food demand throughout the year.
And the end goal of their food bank?
Not to have a food bank would be our ideal goal.
An optimistic hope for the future. Now, both of these organisations are expanding. Kairos currently operates out of a car park, but they're wanting to move into a permanent building later this year. The City Mission are building a social supermarket where people can choose what type of food they want rather than having to take the food that the food bank gives out. They say this will provide dignity and mana to their community.
Thanks, Luca. In just a few weeks, tourists from Singapore will start arriving in Christchurch as the borders reopen. Daily flights will resume and up to 350 people a day are expected. As I found out, those working in tourism and hospitality can't wait. The sound of international footsteps. Their arrival, music to the ears of the tourism industry. From late June, Singapore Airlines will increase services into Christchurch, with daily flights restarting.
All the visitors that come through Christchurch are feeding the whole South Island, so the good news in that is we'll be starting to spread out visitors onto the west coast, up to the top of the south, all the way down to Queenstown. So everyone benefits from us having passengers come through the terminal.
The increase of foot traffic will help benefit the city's economy, with people coming in from Singapore eager to try new things at our local cafes, restaurants and bars.
Well, it's been a long couple of years, a pretty tough couple of years for everybody in the visitor industry, and so getting it restarted again is fantastic.
New Regent Street is almost a century old and continues to be a hotspot for international visitors. Art Deco style buildings line the street, providing endless options of unique dining, a popular choice for many tourists. Rollicken's been around for years, known for its selection of gelato and desserts.
It's exciting when new people come and they get to see it for the first time. And it'll be so nice to see those reactions again and get that excitement.
Business owners are awaiting the influx of customers.
yeah, we're really hoping it picks up and there's some hustle and bustle and we're just jam-packed.
Those on the flights from Singapore will be entering the city with open arms. Melania Watson, Metro News.
Residents in the small township of Birdlings Flat are divided about what to do about light pollution. They want their night sky back, but as Jordan Dunn reports, they're unsure what the answer is.
It's a quaint little town by the beach, but its greatest asset is being outshined.
And I definitely see a lot more stars with the street lights on Clifton Street turned off.
You see the Milky Way and you see all the stars. And you have this feeling of open space until you look to the north.
A few years ago, locals were worried about light pollution, so the council asked residents what they wanted.
The City Council's head of transport said the results of the survey suggested they go ahead with the trial. Now, after 3 months of no street lighting at all, they've installed 3 of these amber LEDs. The idea? Bright, but not outshining the stars.
But the community is still divided.
I like them. I wouldn't like lights myself everywhere.
Yeah, I'd prefer to see no lights at all.
I want lights, but I don't want all the lights.
One local says the natural environment is special.
Anytime I had a personal problem, I always wound up here on the beach.
She's adamant the lights should go.
Most of us that came here to get away from the norm. We all like the darkness. We all like not having the flashiest homes or caring much about what our neighbours do. Well, that's my version of it anyway.
A number of locals aren't even sure why the trial is needed.
The majority said no street lights and now they're trialling them anyway.
Some have come up with a compromise.
Let's have lights, but okay, we'll switch them off at 11. So 11 o'clock at night, all the lights are switched off. So that means it's a dark sky.
Another survey in a couple months will decide the fate of the lights. The locals will choose if they want them to stay on or switch off. Jordan Dunn, Metro News.
Some will be asking who let the dogs out this Saturday. The Barkery is hosting a greyhound adoption day tomorrow. They're rehoming retired racing dogs and answering questions about the breed. If you want to go along, you need to register first.
Now a happy yarn about a group of women helping premature babies. They gather at Knitworld every month, and as Ruby Turnbull discovers, they produce blankets and tiny clothes, all of them made of wool.
Knitting needles are out and yarns are threading as generous ladies knit for babies.
So tonight we've got our once a month charity knitters group in the store.
I've been coming since it started up as Knitting at Night for the midwives.
We were just working out, I think it's 3 years that they started it. 4 years, is it 4 years? Oh, 4 years, well there you are.
Hospitals and midwives are crying out for knitted goods, making these events so important.
People who have had a prem baby will tell you how hard it is to find something to buy in the shops. Few and far between.
Woolen goodies are essential for small babies.
The thing about a baby is it can't regulate its own temperature. So wool breathes naturally and it wicks moisture away as well. So something, for instance, like a polar fleece blanket, you have to understand that it's like wrapping your baby in Glad wrap.
Well, all babies deserve a good start in life, and so that was my immediate impulse.
An awful lot of the young ones don't knit, and a lot of their parents don't knit.
Knitworld also run a separate charity for the first 6 months of the year throughout their 9 stores over New Zealand. This year it's for Kiwi Family Trust and the Nest Collective.
We're aiming for 5,000 items this year, so that's little cardies, socks, hats, mainly blankets.
Knitworld hopes events like these mean there'll be enough woolly blankets to go around. Ruby Turnbull, Metro News.
The message from vegans is clear. Put down the steak knife and look for plant-based alternatives. As Safia Methawillage finds out, the trend is growing for Christchurch, and this is just the beginning.
Veganism is on the rise down south, with business booming at the Phillipstown vegan night markets.
It's definitely turning. It's unusual to find a place that doesn't have vegan options anymore, whereas when I was vegan 8 years ago for the first time, it was actually the other way around. You know, it was hard to find a place that definitely had vegan options.
The turnout is bigger and better than ever.
We typically have about 25 or so stall holders and around 400 people throughout the door each night.
With positive feedback and attendance from stall holders and patrons alike.
Coconut base mango and then coconut base mixed berry.
Well, I've never been before and I had heard from a friend that it was pretty good, so I thought I'd check it out.
People are just really open to trying new things, like anything like this is a really good way just to put it out there.
Because Christchurch is the vegan capital of New Zealand.
People are learning more about the lifestyle and have different reasons for coming.
You get people who are interested in it for health reasons, and other people who are interested in it for ethics, and other people who are interested in it just as a means of environmental conservation.
The organisers work hard to reduce waste and stick with the clean, green, vegan message.
We provide dishes and we wash dishes throughout the night and return them and so on. So every dish we wash is a container saved from landfill.
With only 30 minutes to go, the vegan market is almost completely sold out of food, with organisers saying this is the standard for their monthly gatherings, and share one final message: put down the steak knife and invest in a healthier future for our planet. Safia Methawillage, Metro News.
E whai ake nei, coming up next. 3D printing provides hope for our struggling construction sector, and a new climate school opens in the heart of the Red Zone.
Whoa.
My day starts off at 9 a.m. in the production office, and we have a production meeting with all the heads of departments. Between that and lunchtime, I don't have a lot to do, a lot of mucking around waiting for the scripts to be finished. But at 12, when Avalon, the DA, has finished her scripts and sent them to the printery, she'll also send me a copy and I will print that off and do my script breakdown so I can write down where all my cues are. And then at 1:45, the anchors are on set, and I will meet them on the floor and I'll brief them on the rundown of how things will go that afternoon. After that, we'll come up here and we'll do an auto cue read through to get them comfortable and familiar with the script and what they will be saying. We'll practice the opening titles and the throw to break, and then coming back from the break and also the goodbyes. We will do our live cross checks. There's usually about a 3-second delay, so we'll do a delay check on them as well. We practice their does and their nuts and the throws to them from studio and throw back to studio. 3:15 we will go for a rehearsal of the full show, and then at 4 we go live for our full bulletin of the show. All going well, we will be off here at exactly 4:21, and then we wrap. I'm Kate Fleming and I'm a studio director for Metro News 2022.
No mai anō, welcome back. The grim reality of climate change is setting in, and for children it can be hard working out what to do. Now a special school is up and running in the Red Zone, and its focus is making the future more sustainable. Caitlin Clark is covering the story and joins us now. Caitlin.
Vicky Buck is a name you may recognise. Christchurch's former mayor says it wasn't hard to convince council to give her project the go-ahead. The campus is a collaborative space. It's about teachers and students taking collective action. And according to Vicky, the project is the first of its kind in Australasia. This oasis is a school like no other. From the rubble of the earthquake, a climate action initiative is emerging. Cantabrians are crusading to tackle what's been labelled the most fundamental crisis of our time, building the very first climate action campus right here in Christchurch. Located on the red zone in Avonside and available to 9 primary and secondary schools, the space will be used for things such as beekeeping, business startups and research.
So the point of this is to make it easy for students, teachers, anybody to take action on climate change. We're the last generation that can actually make anything happen. So if you're alive now, you've got a very special responsibility.
As global temperatures rise, so does the pressure on the next generation.
Climate change has been really changing us. No, that's not good. No. It's not good.
Students are encouraged to choose their own projects.
They can grow things, they can propagate things, they can harvest things, they love harvesting things.
The point of the campus is that they can do whatever in whatever field.
The flageolars here are humongous, they're like that big. No, they're big.
This new environment fosters a new way of thinking.
For me, it's about hope, that kids having hope for their futures.
The learning that they're taking away from here and just the love for the planet and the love for growing systems is it's so valuable.
Getting your hands dirty is one way to confront a bleak outlook.
That whole feeling of climate angst, that you've stolen our future, what's the point of anything? The key thing that you can do to mitigate that or to lessen it is action.
On the weak foundation of the red zone comes a solid roadmap for the future. This is all happening at the former Linwood College site, and big plans lie ahead. They'll be fixing up the old classrooms and using them for lessons relating to climate change. And importantly, as they expand, the space will be welcome to all schools and eventually university students as well.
Thanks, Caitlin. Still on the topic of climate change, Willowbank is also targeting children, teaching them to care for our flora and fauna. As Georgie Hannafin finds out, it's all about protecting their future.
The Amazon rainforest. In the last half-century, it's shrunk by the size of nearly 7 New Zealands. That's all happened in Willowbank General Manager Kirsty Willis's lifetime. One reason why she's on a mission, to get kids caring about conservation.
Conservation is about keeping our planet to be a place where people want to live and animals want to live and everybody can live safely and healthily.
Kirsty and the team at Willowbank are passionate about preserving Papatūānuku.
At Willowbank we're always choosing, if we needed to replace a product, what doesn't use plastic, what would be better that can be recycled or can be composted.
Willowbank's home to dozens of bird species, including 8 threatened ones of our own, as well as common farm animals and many rare and endangered creatures from here and overseas. This includes zebu cattle from the Indian subcontinent and from Aotearoa, the Arapawa island goat and kunikuni pigs.
It's really important that they're here in captivity so we can help boost their numbers.
Both Willowbank and DOC have many initiatives available to kids wanting to care about conservation. They both say looking after New Zealand's local flora and fauna is vital in making sure that future generations have access to the same fantastic New Zealand views that we did.
It's just making these little choices, and sometimes these little decisions are something that can make a big impact.
The message to kids being we need to listen to Papatūānuku telling us we otter care. Georgie Hannafin, Metro News.
The answer to the country's housing crisis could be right here in Ōtautahi. Students at Ara Institute of Canterbury are using 3D printers to help build the world around them. Ben Eulis has more.
The addition of these 3D printers at Ara means a promising future for tomorrow's engineers.
It's not one that's necessarily been explored that often in the polytechs around the country or in the universities. We want to be able to end up deal with those new technologies that are out there, new materials that are out there.
Virtually anything can be made using a simple printer, with entry-level machines selling for as little as $200.
It's getting easier and easier. You can actually do everything inside from resin, we can do it from PLA, we can now even print from the concretes.
We need houses, and New Zealand is currently facing a shortage of qualified builders. The solution, however, could be as simple as this.
Yeah, I think it would be as easy as building a house of Lego.
Printing out a house will also be faster and homes more affordable.
Ones that I have seen are taking between 5 and 7 days. This ends up being like for a 3-bedroom home. The time to end up taking in building a house goes down. The materials are the same materials that we use today.
The medical field can benefit from this technology as well.
One of the areas that end up being important these days are things like prosthesis. Even the University of Otago is now printing bone. They end up using the ability to print the scaffolding associated with the bone and then actually have the bone grow on that scaffolding.
And it means a boost for the Kiwi economy.
We could actually end up producing these products here in New Zealand.
Just as the turn of the 19th century brought upon the last industrial revolution, we are now at the forefront of a new technological age. Cleaner, simpler, better for everyone. Ben Eulis, Metro News.
Shake out your red and black winter woolies. The Crusaders are up against the Queensland Reds once again in the Super Rugby quarterfinals tonight. Last week, our boys smashed the Aussies by 28 points to 15. If the Crusaders make the semi-finals, it's still unclear whether that too will be a home game.
With the Commonwealth Games just 2 months away, a judo power couple are practising their best moves. It's been 8 years since they last competed, but as Thomas Rice reports, the husband and wife duo are fighting for gold.
It's been 8 years since the judo couple competed at the Commonwealth Games. Now they're putting in the work to replicate their success.
So we're in our next block of training, and so it's getting really intense. So we've just had a week of deload, and so now the hard stuff's starting.
The husband and wife currently run Premier Equipped Judo in Bromley, where they throw their knowledge to the next generation.
And my biggest aspiration and my biggest dream is that, these guys make anything I've ever achieved look like, small time stuff.
At the Games in Glasgow, Moira lost in the final, a wrong she wants to right.
Last time I got the silver, and that was pretty hard for me to take, being the only person that had lost my final on the podium, so I definitely want to aim for gold.
New Zealand have been successful in the past few Commonwealth Games, picking up 6th in the overall medal tally in 2014 and 5th in 2018. Moira and Jason will be hoping to pick up medals in the judo event, something that hasn't happened since the pair won bronze and silver in Glasgow 8 years ago.
This will be Moira's first Games after the birth of her child, and she's feeling at her best.
After giving birth, it was definitely challenging to come back with the body and taking the knocks and stuff like that, but this time I feel really prepared.
Jason plans to put it all on the line in his final competition.
There's no stone unturned. I'm pretty much putting in all the effort I need to, and I feel on the day I'm capable of doing what I got to do.
The country will be watching as the duo hit the mats in Birmingham in 2 months' time.
Thomas Rice, Metro News.
And now for the weather. It was a wet start this morning, clearing up during the day and reaching a high of 12. Tonight the temperatures drop further with an overnight low of 1. Tomorrow should be a fine start to your weekend, a slightly better day, but 12 is once again the high. That's all for Metro News tonight.
For those stories and more, head over to our website, metronews.co.nz, or head to our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube and TikTok. Ko Melania Watson, aho.
Ko Emily Ansel, aho. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next year. Ka kite anō.